How is homeless defined in Head Start? The 2007 reauthorization of the Head Start Act recognized the unique needs of children experiencing homelessness by formally prioritizing them for enrollment and making them categorically eligible to receive Head Start services. The federal government uses two definitions of homelessness. First, the Department of Housing and Urban Development defines those who are literally living as individuals living on the streets, residing in shelters, living in cars, or other places not meant for human habitation. The Department of Education uses a broader definition specified in the McKinney-Vento Act. This includes those captured in HUD's definition, as well as children and families living in a doubled-up situation where multiple families share a unit intended for a single family due to economic hardship, loss of housing, or related reason. The 2007 Head Start Act requires that grantees identify and enroll children and families experiencing homelessness using the broader definition of both literally homeless and doubled-up families, regardless of family income level, making them categorically eligible for Head Start. The Department of Education definition of a child and/or family experiencing homelessness is defined in the McKinney-Vento Act. The term homeless child and youth means individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Homeless includes children and youth who are sharing a house of a person due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reason, are living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, or camping grounds due to lack of alternative adequate accommodations, are living in emergency or transitional shelters, or in abandoned hospitals. Homeless includes children and youths who have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed for or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation for human beings. Homeless includes children and youths who are living in cars, parks, public places, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or similar settings. The term homeless children and youth means individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. So what exactly is fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence? Fixed is permanent, not subject to change. Regular is used on a predictable, routine, consistent basis. Consider the relative permanence. Adequate, lawfully and reasonably sufficient for meeting the physical and psychological needs typically met in the home environment. Fixed means securely placed or fastened, not subject to change or fluctuation. A fixed residence is one that is stationary, permanent, and not subject to change. Regular, normal, standard, constituted, conducted, or done in conformity with established or prescribed usage, rules, discipline, reoccurring, attending or functioning at a fixed or uniform intervals. Consistent. A regular residence is one which is regular on a nightly basis. Adequate. Sufficient for a specific requirement. Lawfully and reasonably sufficient. Fully sufficient, equal to what is required, lawfully and reasonably sufficient. An adequate residence is one that is sufficient for meeting both the physical and psychological needs typically met in home environments. The McKinney-Vento Act definition of homeless includes children and youth who are living in substandard housing. What criteria should be used to determine if housing is substandard? The U.S. Department of Education has determined that factors to consider in determining whether housing is substandard that includes whether the housing lacks one of the fundamental utilities such as water, electricity, or heat, is infested with vermin or mold, lacks a functional part such as a working kitchen or working toilet, or may present an unreasonable danger to adults, children, or persons with disabilities. The Department further suggests to review state and local housing codes for the definition of substandard housing. Therefore, whether children and youth living in trailer parks are covered by the Act is a case-by-case determination to be made by the local McKinney-Vento liaison in light of the family's circumstances. Therefore, whether children and youth living in trailer parks are covered by the Act is a case-by-case determination to be made by the local McKinney-Vento liaison in light of the family's circumstances. The liaison will need to consider the adequacy of the trailer home, including the number of people living in the trailer, the conditions of the trailer, and the availability of running water, electricity, and other standard utilities. If the trailer is inadequate, it should be considered a homeless situation. The relative permanence of the living situation must also be examined. If the family is living in the trailer temporarily, they are likely to be covered by the Act. Are children and youth who move in with relatives, friends, or other people covered in the Act? Children and youth who are sharing the housing of others due to the loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reason are covered by the McKinney-Vento Act. Not all families staying with other families are considered homeless. Some families may stay with others in fixed, regular, and adequate living arrangements. Determination of homelessness status should take into consideration the unique circumstances of each family. Eligibility. Remember, sharing the housing of others due to a loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reason. Living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, campgrounds due to lack of adequate alternative accommodations. Living in emergency or transitional shelter. Living in a public or private place not designated for ordinary use as a regular sleeping accommodation for humans. Children from migrant families who qualify as homeless because they are living in circumstances described above. Unaccompanied youth living in the above circumstances. Unaccompanied homeless youth. Youth who meet the definition of homeless and are not in the physical custody of their parent or guardian. Immediate enrollment. Children or youth must be enrolled immediately, even if they lack necessary documents for enrollment. After enrollment, the homeless liaison should work with families to obtain the necessary documents such as birth certificates and immunization records. What do I do if I believe a child may be considered homeless? You should call the McKinney-Vento liaison so that she may make the determination under the Act.